early Friday morning as we see temperatures starting in the 60s. The showers will move out, though, by Friday early in the morning, and we'll see more sunshine and lesser humid conditions Friday afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s and near 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Why are you up so early? Don't you remember what today is?
Not really.
Here's a hint. I like zippers.
National Zipper Day.
Whatever happened to zippers? I miss zippers.
That's right. National Zipper Day.
Got anything against zippers?
Zip it.
Zip me?
Zip it good.
Can you zip me up?
I'm Zippy Longstocking.
Zippers where zippers shouldn't be. Let's get out there and get zipping.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. You're listening to Mornings with the LeaderMan, and I can't help but laugh. I got Jeff Drummond back in the studio with me today, and I don't think he was, or he looks a little amused by our show opener.
Oh, yeah, it's Zipper Day. Yeah, get your zipper going.
Yes, it's National Zipper Day, in case anybody cared. So... Thank your zippers for doing their job today, I guess. I'm really not sure what to do with National Zipper Day.
Well, hey, like I said, there's some guy that plays Silent Night with his zipper or something on YouTube. So yeah, you wouldn't search for it.
No, I didn't search for it. Sorry. At any rate, I've got also in the studio with me today trying to give me funny faces. Are you trying to make me laugh too today, John?
Well, I'm trying. The Colonel was successful.
Well, I couldn't help it. I was looking straight at him.
Well, I think you forgot to mention that you said Jeff Drummond, but most people know him around town as the Colonel.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah, good news. The Colonel's back, and the LeaderMan will probably be back Monday, right, Dorothy?
Yes, I'm
Good.
assuming he's going to be back Monday. He looks pretty good, but
well,
we'll see.
I hope he gets better, and I'm glad he rested, and I know folks will be glad to have the Colonel or the LeaderMan, I should say, and the Colonel back as a team again. So, what do you got for us?
Oh, let's see. What do I have for us today? Oh, I looked through all of our stuff, and there's like nothing interesting going on today. Literally nothing interesting.
Well, it's Thursday.
The sad thing is, the most interesting thing I found was this one headline, and let me see if I can get through this headline without tripping over my face. It's in from Colorado. You see here, I haven't even got this thing started yet, and I can't talk. The most interesting headline of today, at least as of 7:34 this morning. Boulders block road in Boulder Canyon near Boulder, according to Boulder County Sheriff's Department.
Let me ask, where'd that take place?
Gee, I don't know. Maybe it was Montana.
Boulder County.
Hey, I have a couple of things, Dorothy.
Do you have a couple of things?
As luck would have it, I have a couple of things. But first, I'd like to say, I read on somewhere that the school board is upset because a radio station.
Oh no.
Could it be WEEB, has made some personal attacks. The only person that I have anything to say about personally is Sleepy Ed Dennison, and it's not his fault that he's tired
Sleepy,
and old.
yeah.
I mean, I'm tired and old, so I believe I can say that. But I would like to invite again Libby Carter, the chairperson, or Pam Thompson, who's so free to throw out racial slurs, which we're going to talk about
unsubstantiated, because as she admitted, she didn't even read it or hear it. She just listened to somebody tell her about it, so she doesn't even know what she's talking about.
I know. I still can't get over that. Just someone told her something, and she raises it in a public meeting.
John, hey, I shop in the same Harris Teeter and the same Food Lion, and people tell me stuff about the school board all the time. I don't repeat most of it. Maybe I should start repeating some of the things that people just walk up to me and spontaneously tell me about the school board.
Well, as I've said on here before, if someone were to walk up to me and tell me something about Pam or Libby or that they saw Sleepy Ed do something, I would not say it on this radio station. Now, all of you, that we all know that the pilot are faithful listeners, the people at the pilot, and the school board listens faithfully, and I appreciate it. Then we got the Bob Mob, who are sitting there with paper and pencil, and pen rather, or paper, and they are taking notes, waiting for me to mess up like I just did. And anything you say, anything that we say, they will put it out and twist it around. And I would like to tell the people listening that, and I'm really serious about this, this is the only outlet in this county where you can get the truth, the true news. Now, it's important also to state that when we started trying to remove the old school board, and we had great success because we were able to get the truth out, we attacked them. You're right, Libby, we did many, many times, but we attacked them with facts. Not facts about what they did in their personal life, but rather facts about how inept they were. The building a school on between a bunch of toxic waste.
Lead infused
letting that
soil.
$1.2 million go on the bid bond. The way you've misspent money, all the things that you've just completely done wrong and ineptly, and the fact that you blindly follow Bob Grimacy. So no, we're not in the business of issuing attacks. That's a left-wing tactic, issuing personal attacks. I can talk about Sleepy Ed because we're pretty close to the same age. We're both old white guys, and Sleepy Ed's losing it. And poor guy, I kind of feel for him. He can, if you notice, he always is the one who moves to adjourn every meeting, and he shows up at the ball games. Right. And that's good. People like him, and they should. But what's he done?
Yeah, for those who are wondering who Sleepy Ed is, because you probably don't, because he has never done anything on the school board of note. He's the glad hand you see at all the school functions, etc. He's the guy. He has his hand stuck out in front of him, because he expects everybody's going to shake his hand.
Well,
that's it. Glad hand.
And he's very popular because of that, and he should be. I think he's not a bad guy, but he's got a little. He just, I don't know. I haven't heard him do anything ever really that made much difference. But anyway, Libby and company, you're invited on here anytime, because there's a lot of questions I'd like you guys to answer about some of the things you've done. Don't understand why you won't come on. Don't understand why you'd rather have your little mob sit back on Facebook and tell everyone how terrible of a radio station we are. We'll treat you as just as kind and nice, but we're still going to ask you these questions, and we'll expect you to answer them.
Yeah, we won't adjourn your in the middle of your answer.
No, that's right. We won't cut you off when you try to, like Libby Carter did the other day. That was horrible. That was horrible. I mean,
after her anti-Semitic remarks to Bob Levy, a man of the Jewish faith, and that's not the only time she's done that. She did that at an event down at the Aberdeen Lake and made a backhanded, snide comment about Bob and his Jewish faith.
Well, you know what? I had completely forgotten about that until you mentioned it this morning. We were at the event down by, where was that?
It was at the Aberdeen Park there by the Aberdeen Lake.
At the building there. And it was a pretty contentious meeting. That's the one where John Nagy got up and started yelling at the mothers completely inappropriate.
He bowled all up. That was pretty funny watching him.
Well, yeah, he was. He and I got into a yelling contest because he had the nerve to yell something at me, and I told him better back off, and he did. But he was yelling things. The editor of the paper. He was supposed to be there reporting.
No, he wasn't reporting anything.
No, he was.
He was making statements,
and it was very obvious when the paper came out, and he had all the facts and all the things we had brought to the forefront on this station. They completely ignored them on that radio. On that newspaper reporting they did, and we know why now.
Yeah, they're a paid advertisement for the school board.
They are, and plus his fiance is the communications director. So you can't look. You can't deny that. That's just a fact. And but to get back to what we were talking about, Libby Carter was walking out, and Jeff and I both heard this very clearly. She yelled a comment to Bob. She said, "I knew you when we were in school together, when we were elementary school," and then she said something snide about how he always got to leave the room and the others didn't, and it was something
Yeah,
Colonel, I have no idea, but something about the Jewish faith. that
right. I had this, and when I was in grammar school, we had a couple of kids, and they would have some educational responsibilities, to go and learn about Jewish religion. I don't know what it's called. It's catechism for et cetera. I don't know. But, at some point during the day, there's a couple of Jewish kids, they get up and leave. And I remember that happening. I'm sitting there thinking, boy, how come they get to go early, man? Why can't I go? And I'm sitting there thinking, I got to find out what that's all about. Well, I'm thinking that, and one of the other kids in the class says, well, hey, how come they're leaving? I want to go too. And the teacher explained that they're getting up and they're going to their Jewish religious classes, and and that was it. I was, oh, okay, well, they're not getting out anything. They're just going to do some other educational thing. I don't want to do that either. So I'm already here. I don't have to walk to it. I'll just sit right here and suffer. Well, that's what that's all about. But she made, hey, 50 years later, here's some hard feelings from Libby Carter because Bob Levy got to get up and walk out of class. What an
you caught yourself just in time.
Yeah, I was going to call her something.
Well, you know what?
Shouldn't.
It was obvious in the statement that she was bitter about it. And
50 years.
And I didn't even really know what she was talking about until Bob explained it to me and you. But yeah, I want to tell a couple of little stories here, and then I'd like you all to respond to them if you have anything to respond to. This reminds me of the things that liberals get upset about. Biden could set the world on fire, and it would be in a negative way. I mean, literally, and he kind of has. He's helped set this nation on fire in a literal sense, and no one would say anything about it in the press. But let anything at all happen by a conservative, and they're all over it. My daughter and I, my grown adult daughter and I, like to go to movies together. And a few years ago, we went to see one of the Planet of the Apes sequels. I don't know if it's like number 3 or number 87, whichever one it was. But
your guess is as good as mine on that one. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Well, in the movie, the apes, they have the big battles. And then the good guys, I don't know if it's the good apes or the humans, I don't remember, but they found an iPad from 10 years ago, and they turned it on, and it worked, and they did some communication, etc. And they won the day. We were leaving, and I said to my daughter, that's ridiculous. An iPad, it's not going to last 10 years in the battery. And my daughter said, and so the talking monkeys didn't bother you. You were okay with the talking monkey, but that iPad, that was just too unrealistic for you. Well, I would like to relate that to the way we live now. Liberals, the talking monkeys don't bother you, huh?
Yeah.
That you don't get that, but let anything happen, and that is a comparison. It's not any kind of a racial thing, so don't try to make it one.
Right.
Libby and Pam and company, because it's not, and you guys will twist everything around. Sometimes I think that liberals can't see what's happening, even when it's right in front of them. They don't know what they're being fed. I really do believe that there are some good people, and I'm talking mostly about young people, who would, if they could just sit down for a couple of days and listen to both sides at a table, they might actually understand.
Right.
But when all they're fed and all they can see is what's right in front of them and what's being taught to them in schools, then they don't get it. And my example of that is this. When a lot of military guys out there, including obviously the colonel, and so they'll understand this. Sometimes when you're in a foreign country and you're building rapport, you've got to eat whatever they're eating because you want to be polite. You can't tell them, I'm not eating this crap. And you have to choke it down even if you're gagging. And you tell them that's our custom in our country. We gag when we eat good food. But sometimes you don't even know what you're being fed, just like the liberals.
Sometimes you don't want to know what you're being
Sometimes you don't want to know. Well, let me tell you, one time I found out. We were eating, and we were obviously not obviously maybe, but when we were training foreign troops, we would be in the desert with them. And they would invite us. We would sit around a circle, and normally it would be nighttime. They'd have fires going, and there would be a big platter, and in that platter would be rice covering the whole thing, and in the center would be meat. And usually it was goat, and in fact always it was goat, except one time, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I would have no way of knowing except right in the middle of the platter they had a real uncooked head of a camel that we were eating, and that camel's head was propped up in the middle of this big platter, and as luck would have it, I'm sitting and it's looking at me, and I'm like, I'm looking at what I'm eating, and it's big, and I'm
it's
thinking,
looking back at you.
it's looking back at me. I'm pretty sure it winked at me once. But here's my point. I had no idea what I was eating, and
Until
the
it
Democrats and the liberals have no idea what they're being fed.
Right.
And if we could figure out a way to make that camel stare at them and let them see what they're actually being fed,
Right.
I think they'd change their mind.
And that's what David and Bob and Philip want to do is, like, let's start with, hey, the budget. When some of these people actually look and see and are shown what their money is being spent on, I bet you more than a few of them are going to say, hey, we need to adjust some of this stuff. But you don't even know what's being spent. All you know is that, hey, we're spending $121 million, and their contention is some of these clowns, well, that's not enough. We need to spend more. Well, wait a minute. What's that $120 million being spent on? What by line? How much dollar? What dollars? And we know some money is being used to advertise in the pilot. Why? I can't think of any conceivable reason to advertise anything in the pilot regarding our school system. Somebody convince me. But yeah. So how much money are we? And why? Why are we spending any of that money? And Bob Levy got in trouble because, hey, these propaganda films that they're being shown, well, yeah, they're nice, but they serve no useful purpose. What are we spending on the production of those films? And let's spend it on something more useful. And that's his point.
And I think it was a very good point.
Yes.
I would really challenge anyone listening to tell me the downside of what the Colonel just spoke of. If you have people who are looking over our money, and it's your money, whether you're a liberal or a conservative, well, if you're a conservative, it's more likely to be your money.
Yes, yeah.
But what is wrong? What is the downside of having people on the school board looking at every single nickel? I want them to, and I don't know why anyone wouldn't. And as they've said many times, we may look at this and say, hey, this is great. But if the only reason I can think of that you would not want someone looking over your budget is if you are doing something wrong, whether that be misspending money or stealing it or whatever it might be. So there's no downside at all, and I think we've got to. I wish the people who are going so strongly after these three great men who are doing such wonderful things would just realize this. Jeff and I, or the Colonel and I, were talking about it. Dorothy, you were out of the room. Dorothy doesn't spend much time with us if she doesn't have to.
I had other things to do.
Ever since Jeff played Silent Night on his zipper.
Yeah, that was traumatic. That was very traumatic.
And if you missed that, this is National Zipper Day, Dorothy told us. And Jeff told us he had read an article about a guy who played Silent Night on his zipper. So, I mean, I can't.
Well, it's Zipper Day.
How do you even learn that you can do that? Do you accidentally learn that? I'm like, you through and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounded like the opening line to Silent Night. I mean, I don't know how you do that. But
have you never noticed that your zipper makes noise when you zip something, depending on the fabric that it's connected to? Have you never noticed that?
Well, and whether it's brass or nylon, et cetera.
Depending on the material the zipper is made out of and the material it's connected to. It can
see,
come
in the Army,
tones.
they use Velcro because zippers are too complicated.
I was going to say, they
do.
started using Velcro.
We do. And, all right, I'm not going to come back on that. Because, frankly, I don't have a comeback for it. But we do. Army does use a lot of Velcro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm sure it involves money, not. All right.
It's just easier to rip patches on and off with Velcro than it is with stitches.
You know what?
You can't zipper a patch on too. So
I'm trying to talk about things that matter here.
But it's National Zipper Day.
I accidentally mentioned it's National Zipper Day, and I can't hear you two go. And Dorothy,
I'm excited about zippers, aren't you?
Well, Dorothy's like, there are several different types of zippers that make different noises.
Hey, my mother used to sew, so we had a box, a shoebox full of zippers that she would pull out of old clothes and save to reuse again later. So I've seen all kinds of zippers. I finally got her to get rid of the thing when she stopped being able to sew. But we had probably at least one, if not two, shoeboxes full of zippers.
Well, if you're of a certain age, that's what you did back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. You recycled everything.
Yeah, but after
including zippers.
I was saying, but after hanging on to these suckers for more than the number of years I've been alive is a little much.
Well, I think most listeners are probably thinking the same thing I am. Well, I'll be
we
doggone.
have gone off the rails.
I'll be doggone. Isn't that something? And there are probably some people that are probably a little older than me. They're thinking how much they long for those days.
Yes,
the day of the
the
zipper.
boxes
Just
and
searching for that box of zippers now.
box of zippers or jars of buttons.
Oh,
Or tin cans full of buttons that, my shirt's got a hole in it, got to throw it out, but I'm going to salvage all the buttons on it.
Well, I'm going to put it like this. I've had a very bad experience with a zipper before, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to even discuss
Does zippers
It's
scare
another
you?
reason the Army doesn't use zippers.
Well, there they still do. So. You know what this reminds me of? I think I might have mentioned this before, but when I was about 4 or 5, I don't know, years old, I don't think I was in the first grade yet. And by the way, I didn't go to kindergarten. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if it's my generation or just where I lived, my generation, but they didn't. I think they had kindergarten, but you didn't have to go to it. So my parents, they were raised as farmers, and they didn't have much education. They were wonderful people, but they didn't send me to kindergarten. So who cares? Nobody. So I was. My mother had a friend, and it was an old lady, and we'd go over there sometimes. And she would sit and tell us, and she was kind of scary, but she would tell us literally. She would look at these, and I took all this very seriously. I mean, I was soaking this up, and I just wanted, look, when I was a little kid, all I wanted to do was go play cowboys and Native Americans. Other kids would say, let's play cowboys and Indians. I would say, no, let's play cowboys and Native Americans. You people make me sick. And but the old lady would sit there, and she'd have a cigarette, and I don't know what she was drinking, but she would say stuff like this: "You kids have no idea the hell you're going to go through in your life." I'm like, well, now I'm thinking, what? But back then I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And she would just sit there, and she would talk to other people, and then she'd look over at us, you don't have any clue what's happening in this world, and the things are going to happen. And it turns out she was right. But I'm not sure I'm not sure. I'm lucky I'd ever do another sober breath again as long as I live with the way this woman was talking to us. But you get my point there? What I'm trying? Well, good. Explain it to me, Jeff, because I have no idea. He was nodding his head yes.
We got off the budget somehow.
You were nodding your head yes. I was glad to see you nod it because I have no idea where I was going with that. And some things are good ideas, some are not. You guys, I don't know if you'll remember this. A lady, this one really got me. A lady in Australia of all places. I mean, Australia is a wonderful country, known for good-looking people, but it's also known for every single thing that can kill you. A spider, most poisonous spider in the world, most poisonous jellyfish, most poison. I mean, the worst sharks, the worst snakes, the worst
crocodiles.
You name it. Crocodiles. I mean,
that swim in the ocean, no less.
Yeah. I mean,
it's got the biggest collection of deadly animals on the planet.
Yes.
The platypus, yeah.
You get the feeling that if you're walking down the sidewalk in Sydney during the traffic, that anything can just grab you any minute and just take you away. I mean, like a crocodile could just show up. I mean, I hate to even sit on the taller. A great white just rise up. That's the way they make it sound on television. But it's still a wonderful country. But a lady in Australia was hand feeding a shark, and she said, when she, of course, you know what happened. She got mangled from hand feeding a shark in Australia, of all places.
Why would you want to feed your own hand to a shark? Because that's my first thought. Was a hand feed a shark? You gonna let him eat your own hand? That just doesn't sound all that smart to me. I'm sorry.
Very good, Dorothy. She was literally hand feeding a shark, feeding her hand. Very good. But here's the part that got me. She said when the shark bit her, she said this to the press. Two things. The first one she said was, I didn't realize sharks would bite you when you fed them. And she said, here's the part that didn't make much sense. She said, well, that shark is probably in as much shock as I am. No.
I don't think
No,
so.
no, that shark is not in shock at all. Not at all.
Unless he's got a bone stuck somewhere it shouldn't be, I don't think he's in shock at all.
That shark, if the shark were capable of being in shock, he would be thinking, I am shocked anybody could be that stupid. Okay.
Well, when we were kids, we had all the like Mutual of Omaha Wildcat, but they portrayed animals as they are.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you had cartoons and things, but I think even a little kid sitting here said that's a cartoon.
Yeah.
That's not real. But now you have all this GFI stuff or whatever it's called, CGI, and the animals, and they talk to you and they're friendly and blah 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 blah. Just like your daughter said to you, hey, the talking monkeys didn't faze you, huh? Well, there it is. And people walk around out there. I can tell you a couple stories. You don't have time for all these stories, but people go out there and the big cuddly bear, all this, and it's where do you get these ideas? Where do these people come up with the idea that you go over to a bear and just pet it or something?
I don't know, because
no, Dorothy, we want an answer.
It seems like common sense that you look at a grizzly bear or something like that and go, yeah, he's bigger than me. Those claws are bigger than my head. I don't think I'm going to go mess with him.
Unless you see a grizzly bear driving a car, pull into Harris Teeter, walk in, and start shopping, then you may approach it.
Yeah.
But other than that, if you're out there in the wilderness,
right?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just I look at, I remember being in Oklahoma next to one of the buffalo, or not buffalo, bison.
Bisons, yeah.
And I was in a van, and we pulled up because they were crossing the road, and I just remember sitting there and looking at them, going, "That sucker's bigger than my van."
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm going, please don't notice us. Just keep right on going.
Yeah.
Because they're huge. But why somebody would go up to one, regardless of whether it was big or little?
Right.
I'm just like,
I
are
don't
you
know.
just
Especially
brave or
the
stupid?
little ones are the most dangerous ones because Mama doesn't like it.
I say Mama's
Well,
an unknown distance away. Yeah.
when you're looking at a bear, that bear is looking for something to eat. He's not out there just, aren't these mountains beautiful?
Right.
Oh, look, a human. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I remember seeing a picture not that long ago of some lady tagging bears. And of course, the bear was unconscious, but she held the paw up next to her face,
Right.
and it was bigger than her face.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm looking at the the pads on the paw and the claws and thinking, yeah, it's a good thing that sucker's unconscious because I wouldn't be within 100 miles of it.
Well, I saw a lady yesterday eating in Red Robin. And let me tell you, there was nothing bigger than her face. No bear paw, no nothing. And I don't mean that. How am I supposed to say? I meant no disrespect. Well, how we do it on time here, Dorothy?
We got about 30 seconds.
Oh. And ma'am, if you're listening, that was the colonel that said that.
Thank you.
That's right. Throw him under the bus.
Yeah, throw him under the grizzly bear.
Right.
Have you guys ever seen a grizzly out in the wild? Either one of you?
Nope.
A grizzly? No, I have not.
But black bear, plenty of
Black bear.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen any black bears in the wild. My brother-in-law used to hunt them. I've seen a couple of mounted heads on the wall, but that's as close as I've gotten.
Well, until this moment, I didn't know there was a difference between a bison and a buffalo.
Whatever. Anyway, it's time for the weather.
All right, bye.
Around the area, some areas may also even get to 90 this afternoon. It'll be quite humid as well, but we stay dry with a partly cloudy sky. A few showers though arrive overnight tonight and early Friday morning as we see temperatures starting in the 60s. The showers will move out though by Friday early in the morning, and we'll see more sunshine and lesser humid conditions Friday afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s and near 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills. 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason.
We can do whatever we set our minds to if we do it together.
President Biden, in his speech to Congress last night, outlining plans to spend roughly $6 trillion on a series of initiatives, including a $2.3 trillion jobs plan. Republicans say the president has attacked American businesses and workers by authorizing massive tax hikes, killing the Keystone Pipeline's 11,000 jobs, and by going after state right-to-work laws. Heritage Foundation's Genevieve Wood.
This idea that there's going to be free college and we're going to have higher minimum wage laws and we're going to do all these things and it's going to be free and it's not going to cost you anything. I think if any average American sits down and really thinks through that, they know it's not true.
GOP Senator Tim Scott accusing the president and his Democrat allies of dividing the country despite all of their lofty rhetoric about unity.
Scott says nowhere in American life is there needed a candid discussion more than when it comes to the issue of race.
But powerful forces want to pull us apart.
In his response to President Biden's speech to Congress, Scott accused Democrats of deliberately ignoring progress that's been made on racial justice to justify what he calls a power grab in Washington.
Hear me clearly. America is not a racist country.
Scott, the Senate's only black Republican, is considered a likely contender for his party's presidential nomination in 2024. Bob Agnew reporting.
Senior aides to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo repeatedly blocked release of the state's nursing home COVID death toll, working to conceal the figures for at least 5 months. That's according to the New York Times, which conducted interviews and reviewed pertinent documents. Cuomo has denied any wrongdoing, has been under pressure to resign. That's something that he insists he will not do. Stock futures higher on Wall Street. Dow futures up 142 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 136. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Marquette Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Zippy and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynavite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynavite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cats to Dynavite, I took the advice from Dynavite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynavite for life.
You won't believe how happy your cat will be.
DINOVITE.com.
India's foreign secretary says there has been an outpouring of solidarity with his country facing a coronavirus crisis.
Mr. Shringler said over 40 countries had now pledged to send India the items it most urgently needs. He mentioned Western nations such as the United States and France, and also neighbours including Bhutan and Bangladesh. He described India's need for vaccines as very, very pressing. India, a global vaccine manufacturer, would from now on use whatever it produced for its own domestic program, he said. And if it could source vaccines from other countries, it would do that too, he added.
The BBC's Jill McGivering. China has now launched the main module of its first permanent space station that will host astronauts long term. It's the latest success for a program that's realized a number of ambitious goals in recent years. So-called Heavenly Harmony module blasted into space atop a Long March 5B rocket. News and analysis, townhall.com. Colorado Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert displayed a thermal space blanket similar to those distributed to migrants held at detention facilities at the southern border during President Biden's address to Congress on Wednesday.
A spokesperson for Congresswoman Boebert said that she was trying to highlight the recent surge of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. Boebert tweeted about 30 times, providing real-time reactions to Mr. Biden's address, including multiple missives questioning the social distancing measures in place during the event, making references to the president's son, Hunter, and highlighting the increase in immigration since the inauguration. Boebert, a firebrand first-term lawmaker, was among a handful of House Republicans in attendance at the speech, which was significantly scaled back from previous presidential addresses because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
And it looks like Wall Street's heading for a higher open later this morning. Right now, the Dow futures up 136 points. NASDAQ futures 140 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
We're proud to be working with our local businesses for the greatest comeback of all time.
Come together.
With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Serving more people, more places, 24/7. If your AC breaks down, we'll restore your indoor heaven. Installation or repair, one call, we'll be there. It's your family, don't delay. Comfort's just a call away. We're Comfort Services. Comfort Services.
Come to Comfort Services in Aberdeen to get a free estimate on a new Carrier system or heat pump, and you may qualify for a rebate up to $2,000 from Carrier. Get in on the savings and purchase a qualifying heating or cooling product before the Cool Cash rebate ends July 31st. You may also qualify for financing options as well. Stop into Comfort Services on Highway 5 next to the Habitat store in Aberdeen. Call 910-695-2665. Carrier and Comfort Services, a great team. 910-695-2665.
Comfort's just a call away. Comfort Services.
You found it, your dream home. The perfect square footage on a quiet street. The Midtown condo with the amazing roof deck. The country house on some acreage. Or maybe it's a little bungalow on the beach. Whatever your dream looks like, First Bank offers personalized loan programs. Great rates and exceptional service every time for everyone. Dreams happen at First Bank. Learn more by visiting a local branch or go to localfirstbank.com/mortgage.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Get moving and grooving again at the Greens at Pinehurst. Our physical and occupational therapy and skilled nursing services are the best in the area, and it's because we put the focus where it belongs, on you. With daily routines and a comprehensive activity schedule, there'll be no stopping you. Call 910-295-1781 today or visit the Greens at 205 Rattlesnake Trail in Pinehurst. That number again is 910-295-1781. The Greens at Pinehurst. Get your groove back on.
Over the past several years, WEEB has been telling you about Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services. During that time, Sherry and Howard Hoke have experienced a large increase in their business because of their beautiful paved driveways and much more. Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services offers patching, excavation, and drainage issue solutions, crack filling, seal coating, and striping for both residential and commercial. And now they have added concrete, pouring sidewalks, driveways, curbs, and gutters, pads, as well as pavers. Estimates are free, and they will come to your property to assess your needs. No job is too big or too small. Go online to slcontractingllc.com or the Seven Lakes Contracting and Asphalt Services Facebook page showing photos and customer reviews. So, call 910-673-1318. Active duty military will receive a 10% discount. 910-673-1318.
Pinehurst Toyota has been awarded the Pilot's 2020 Best of the Pines Service Department winner, and we are open and following the COVID-19 safety guidelines. The Service Department's hours are Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the Sales Department is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We can answer any questions and work out any deal, online or over the phone, and even provide home delivery. Go to our website at pinehursttoyota.com or call 910-692-2424 or text message. For those who would prefer not to come into the dealership, we are happy to come to you for sales or service. Call 910-692-2424 or go to the website at pinehursttoyota.com. And congratulations again to Pinehurst Toyota for the Pilot's 2020 Best of the Pines Service Department winner. And we thank you for voting for Pinehurst Toyota. Call us during business hours at 910-692-2424.
NCN News. I'm Mike Riley. A Watauga sheriff's deputy has died and another has been wounded in a shooting that prompted a day-long standoff Wednesday that dragged into the night with law enforcement officers surrounding a home. Watauga County Sheriff Lynn Hageman said Sergeant Chris Ward died at a hospital in Johnson City, Tennessee. State Representative Ray Pickett of Watauga County spoke on the House floor last night.
He ambushed them, shot 3 of them, killed 1. The second one's holding on by a thread. So please, everybody in this house, please keep those folks in your prayers.
A judge in Pasquotank County has denied request to publicly release police body camera footage in the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. CBS News' Manuel Bojorges has the latest from Elizabeth City.
During the hearing, the district attorney said that Brown's car made contact with law enforcement officers before they opened fire.
The next movement of the car is forward. It is in the direction of law enforcement and makes contact with law enforcement. it is then and only then that you hear shots.
That goes against what Brown family lawyer Chantel Cherry Lassiter said after watching a small clip of the body cam video.
Kinston police say a pedestrian was struck and killed by an officer's vehicle last night. The officer involved was transported to UNC Lenoir Healthcare. His status was not released. The timeline for some of the areas of the country to reach herd immunity has been pushed back because so many people are now skipping the COVID-19 vaccines. Many of them younger people in Texas. Dr. Stephen Miff of Parkland Center for Clinical Innovation.
I think there's still a group that they don't want to be first, and they don't want to be the guinea pig for the vaccines.
Cruise operators could restart sailing out of the U.S. by mid-July, according to the CDC. Florida Senator Rick Scott says it's about time.
Finally, the CDC is making some decisions, working with the, hopefully working with the cruise industry, but I'm not going to let up. It is unfair how the CDC has handled the cruise industry.
You're listening to NCN News.
Are you ready to kick off your next boating or fishing adventure? Then head over to the Wilmington Spring Boat Show. It's happening this weekend at the Mayfair Town Center off Military Cutoff Road. The show opens at 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, and admission is free. You can browse more than 60 new boats on display from local dealers. Experience the latest engine technology from Mercury Marine, or enjoy a fishing seminar from a local guide. Visit springboatshow.com for more info. That's springboatshow.com. Help us serve you. North Carolina retailers aren't just the backbone of the local economy. They are the first ones to step up to support your Little League teams, your booster clubs, and to step in with product donations in times of need. So please shop NC. You hold the power to help North Carolina's retailers rebound faster by choosing to spend your dollars in North Carolina. The NC Retail Merchants Association proudly represents these dedicated retailers and encourages you to shop NC. Learn more at ncrma.org.
President Joe Biden has now been in office for 100 days. Last night, he laid out an ambitious plan for the country while speaking to a joint session of Congress.
At his first address to a joint session of Congress, the president unveiled his American Families Plan, a $1.8 trillion proposal that expands education and family care.
No one should have to choose between a job and a paycheck, or taking care of themselves and their loved ones, or parent or spouse or child.
He also pushed his American Jobs Plan,
the blue-collar blueprint,
which includes rebuilding the country's infrastructure.
A Duke Energy spokesman says a pilot of a company helicopter died after the aircraft crashed into a wooded area in North Carolina. Spokesman Jeff Brooks confirmed that the pilot died in Wednesday's crash, but didn't identify the pilot or offer any other details. This week, the CDC relaxed some of its outdoor mask guidelines, particularly for people who are fully vaccinated. CDC officials say if you're walking, biking, or running outside with members of your household, or if you're at a small gathering outside with fully vaccinated people, you don't have to wear a mask. That goes for fully vaccinated and unvaccinated people. Asheville resident Emmy Dottie tells WLOS.
I might continue wearing it, just like for other people. My grandmother is high risk, and I live with her, so I just want to make sure that she's okay.
The Atlanta Braves are going to play to a full capacity stadium, but Mercedes-Benz Stadium and Truist Park will allow fans to fill up the venues in just a matter of days. Tori Cooper with WGCL.
Officials at both stadiums say they made their decisions as more fans become fully vaccinated across our state.
I think it's a great way for people to reconnect after a long time without community, so I think it'll be a great time.
Health and safety protocols will remain in place, including wearing a mask unless actively eating or drinking.
Mike Rayleigh, NCN News.
Good morning and happy Thursday. We're seeing a few small showers around the area this morning. We'll be drier midday and through the afternoon with a partly cloudy sky. Highs today in the upper 80s and near 90. We'll see a slight chance of showers this evening and especially overnight tonight. We start in the low to mid-60s Friday morning. Friday afternoon, the clouds will clear. It'll be less humid and beautiful. Highs Friday in the upper 70s and near 80. We'll also see a lesser humid weekend ahead. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now for your Sandhills news. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has decided to lift the state's outdoor mask mandate. He is also increasing indoor and outdoor gathering limits. Starting Friday, 100 people can assemble indoors and 200 people may gather outdoors. The Democratic governor has said he hopes to further ease restrictions and possibly eliminate the mask mandate altogether if at least 2/3 of North Carolina adults are at least partially vaccinated. Nearly half of the adults have gotten at least one COVID-19 shot. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention say vaccinated Americans don't need to cover their faces outside anymore unless they are in a big crowd of strangers. The Southern Pines Police Department announced in a press release that they are searching for a suspect who they say stole a car from Cooper Auto Choice. Police responded to the dealership on Old U.S. Highway 1 on Monday for a reported breaking and entering and larceny of a vehicle. Deputy Chief Charles Campbell said after the suspect broke into the business, they stole a 2016 black Ford Taurus. Please call the police department at 910-692-7013 if you have any information about this case. North Carolina income tax filers won't have to pay interest on payments turned in by the new May 17th deadline in a bill signed into law by Governor Roy Cooper. The legislation was signed late Tuesday after the Senate gave its final legislative approval earlier in the day. The legislation addresses a result from an IRS decision to push its traditional April 15th deadline by 1 month. State Revenue Secretary Ron Penny extended the North Carolina income tax deadline on its own, but he couldn't waive penalties made after April 15th, but by the new date without the legislature's help. First Health Moore Regional Hospital is the only hospital in North Carolina to be named Fortune IBM Watson's Health 100 Top Hospitals list for 2021. The recognition includes Moore Regional Hospital, Hoke Campus in Rayford, and Moore Regional Hospital Richmond Campus in Rockingham as divisions of Moore Regional. The top 100 hospitals were determined by studying 2,675 short-term acute care hospitals based on performance in the 4 main categories: clinical outcomes, operation efficiency, patient experience, and financial health. This year, Fortune and IBM added a 5th category to look at how hospitals improved the well-being of the community outside their walls. Moore Regional received similar designations as one of the country's top hospitals in 1995, 2003, 2004, 2016, and 2017. That's your WEEB local news this morning from the Sandhill Sentinel. Go online to sandhillsentinel.com for more information.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. Devontae Graham led the Hornets last night with 25 points. P.J. Washington and Miles Bridges each had 19, but it came nowhere close to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum scoring 38 and 35 respectively as the Boston Celtics rebound from an embarrassing loss a night earlier and beat the Hornets 120-111 in Boston. After their third game in 4 nights, the Hornets have got 2 days off before hosting Detroit. Head coach James Borrego says they need the rest. As for the Hornets, they're 30 and 32 on the season. Number of wins is 4 more than Las Vegas predicted they'd win all season. As for the final 10 games and what it will take to make a final playoff push.
This is where we're at. You know, as I said, I haven't had any expectations going in. I didn't say let's be 30 and 32. We just go play the game. I love where we're at. We put ourselves in a position to be a playoff team. This is nothing but positive to me.
The 76ers crushed Atlanta last night, and Miami beat the Spurs to move a game behind the Hawks atop the Southeast Division. The Hornets still 3.5 games back, but they are comfortably in the thick of being part of the postseason tournament. Drew Lock now has some serious competition for his starting job in Denver. The Broncos' new GM, George Patton, acquired the veteran QB Teddy Bridgewater from the Carolina Panthers yesterday in exchange for a 6th-round pick in the upcoming draft, which begins today. Patton said he's succeeded John Elway, that he wanted to bring in competition for Locke, who was 8-10 in his 2 years as Denver starter. Bridgewater, meanwhile, went 4-11 in Charlotte last year, and he came available when the Panthers traded for former Jets QB Sam Darnold 3 weeks ago. The Carolina Hurricanes continue to lead the Central Division as the Canes and Panthers were both idle on Wednesday. Florida back in action tonight. They're in Chicago, while Carolina is hosting the Detroit Red Wings. That is the one team who's given Carolina their biggest fights this entire season. Detroit near the bottom of the division, but they've held up against the Hurricanes so far in their matchups this year. This is NCN Sports.
Ah, the beautiful sounds of the outdoors. Birds, bees, and battery power made by steel. The quiet, powerful way to turn a backyard into a baseball field or a night at the movies. Steel has all the outdoor handheld tools you need, from trimmers to chainsaws to mowers and blowers. Lightweight tools with 0 exhaust emissions that make work a breeze and help you enjoy a breeze. Listen up, America. It's time to pick up Steel AK battery-powered homeowner tools, starting at just $199.99. Not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. You'll only find STIHL at over 10,000 local dealers. Battery power, made by STIHL. Find yours at stihlbattery.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
A person familiar with the deal tells the Associated Press that Antonio Brown has agreed to return to the Buccaneers on a one-year contract that could be worth up to $6.5 million, including incentives. The Giants have picked up a fifth-year option on the rookie contract for running back Saquon Barkley, the 2018 Offensive Rookie of the Year, recovering from a torn right ACL he suffered in Week 2 of last season. The Colts have exercised a fifth-year option on perennial All-Pro guard Quentin Nelson's rookie deal. The number 6 overall pick in the 2018 draft has started all 48 games at left guard for the Colts. And the Lions also exercising a fifth-year contract option on Pro Bowl offensive lineman Frank Ragnow. He's entering his 4th NFL season after being drafted in the first round out of Arkansas. Meanwhile, the first round of the 2021 draft set for tonight. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time with Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Hi, this is Rodney Swarms with Plumbing Night. We know that plumbing emergencies can happen at any time. In fact, they seem to happen at the most inconvenient times. And then inviting an unknown plumber into your home, that can add to the stress of the situation. The Plumbing Night wants to alleviate any stress about inviting a technician into your home by guaranteeing that we have not only the very best plumbers, but also the most knowledgeable plumbers. Before any of our employees are hired, all of the employees must undergo drug testing and a thorough background check. If they don't pass, they aren't hired. No exceptions. Once they're hired and part of the team, they receive continuous technical and customer training to ensure that they are the very best at their trade. This training is week after week, month after month, year after year. This training is what got us into community college to teach the plumbing trade. So the next time you have an emergency, call the Plumbing Night. They're known for extraordinary service and integrity.
Call the Plumbing Night at 639-5555, day or night, or on the web at theplumbingnight.com.
My mom's home is 9 rooms and 56 years of memories. Everything that's important to her happened under this roof. She's slowed down a little and needs help. Nothing too difficult, just a hand with everyday chores. Someone to look after her when I can't. My mom loves her home. There's no place she'd rather be.
If your mom wants to stay in her home, call me, Bob Bonville at Griswold Home Care Pinehurst, 910-420-2360. That's 910-420-2360. We've been keeping the heart at home since 1982.
From the WEEB Community Calendar.
Moore County Parents, the Education First Alliance of Moore County, will be holding a parent boot camp to learn what's happening with critical race theory in the Moore County school system. They will be running that boot camp on the 6th of May at 7 p.m. in the Southern Pines Civic Club. That's Thursday, 6 May at 7 p.m. Learn what you can do to stop critical race theory in the Moore County schools. The event will be free, but you need to register. Go to www.edfirstnc.org/parent-bootcamp. That's www.edfirstnc.org/parent-bootcamp.
Swim into summer with the Pool Store of the Pines, a third-generation company with over 60 years of experience. The Pool Store of the Pines can make your summer season a success with a one-stop shop from pool construction, liner repair and replacement, to chemical supplies, professional water testing, and more. Let our professionals take care of all your pool needs so you can enjoy your pool this summer with family and friends and without any of the hassles. Visit us online at poolstoreofthepines.com or call us at 910-725-1003. That's 910-725-1003. Better yet, come visit us in person. We're located at 965 Old Highway 1 in Southern Pines. Pool Store of the Pines. We build and service the pool of your dreams. Call 910-725-1003 or online at poolstoreofthepines.com.
Neck, shoulder, or back pain can be downright debilitating. If you have those issues, you already know that, and you don't need me to tell you about the opioid crisis. There's another, better way. I'm talking about chiropractic, a healing art that's also science. Dr. Sharon Wright of Wright Chiropractic in Seven Lakes invites you to come in for a discussion about how chiropractic works and could work for you. To be sure, there are many of you out there that have reached the proverbial dead end trying to treat and manage your pain.
This is Dr. Wright. I can't guarantee I can fix every problem, but I will tell you honestly whether chiropractic can be of help for your particular issue. Living with pain is not always the only option. Doesn't it make sense to explore every avenue before resigning yourself to the limitations of pain? Call our office today to schedule a consultation and start living again. 673-2225.
At Sandhills Collision Center in Seven Lakes, we proudly serve all your automotive repair, auto body restoration, and collision repair needs. With our brand new state-of-the-art Chief straightening system and eco-friendly AmeriCure paint booth, you can rest assured that your vehicle, boat, or RV will receive top-notch repair and flawless paint jobs. And for all you aviators, we do aircraft body repair too. Sandhills Collision Repair Center is veteran-owned and offers a 5% discount to our military family. We give free estimate and accept all insurance and self-pay. All our ATECs will provide superior customer service from start to finish because we are committed to quality and prompt expert service. Bring your automobile, boat, or RV by today for a free quote at 135 Village View Drive in Seven Lakes. That's just 2 minutes from the Food Lion on Seven Lakes Drive. Or call us at 910-673-AUTO. That's 673-AUTO. Sandhills Collision Center, because you deserve the best.
This time of year, it's hard to know whether to put on a coat or short sleeves, not to mention whether to use the heat or AC. But one thing that is predictable is you absolutely need to service your heating and air system to avoid costly repairs or replacements down the road. Call Four Seasons Heating and Air to schedule your service checkup before the summer gets here and it becomes an emergency. Four Seasons Heating and Air, the company that wants you to get comfortable with them. Call 235-0606. That's 235-0606.
Aaron Cooper here with Cooper Ford, your only locally owned Ford dealer in Moore County. All of us here at Cooper Ford are proud to announce we have been awarded the Elite President's Award by Ford Motor Company. Presented to only 10% of all dealers nationwide for excellence in both sales and service customer satisfaction. Treating others the way we want to be treated is how we do business here at Cooper Ford. Located in the heart of Moore County and only minutes from anywhere. So please come see us here in beautiful Carthage or visit us on the web at cooperford.net. And as always, working really hard to be your hometown dealer.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is brought to you by Quality Built Homes, the Sandhills' #1 home builder, developer, and remodeler. With over 1,500 homes built in Moore County, we earn our name every day. Quality Built Homes, 910-944-7453.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. I read an interesting story today that perfectly describes government thinking, the kind that's gotten us where we are today. The Biden administration is planning to ban menthol cigarettes. Take a guess as to why. Why do you think? Well, you're wrong. They're going to ban menthol cigarettes because they are disproportionately harmful to black Americans. They tell us that the tobacco industry has marketed menthol products to black Americans much more than they have marketed it to white Americans. But here's the problem. The ACLU is telling the Biden guys that if they ban menthol, the ACLU will sue. Why, you ask? They say that a ban on menthol will disproportionately affect black Americans because they're the largest group using them because the cigarette companies market it to them. So there you have it. Once again, our government's saying to us, black Americans are too stupid to make their own choices. So we, as white liberals, must step in and help them. It's time to stop treating our minorities like they're stupid, don't you think? You tell them they're too dumb to get an ID. You tell them they can't make it in school unless we dumb down math. And now you tell them they're too dumb not to smoke when someone tells them to smoke. The worst thing our black citizens ever did was to allow themselves to become dependent on the crooked liberals in the Democrat Party. They need to hear the truth. The truth is all about equality. Have a good day. from the Zoom on Zone.
Hello and happy Thursday. Expect a warmer afternoon today with temperatures in the upper 80s around the area. Some areas may also even get to 90 this afternoon. It'll be quite humid as well, but we stay dry with a partly cloudy sky. A few showers, though, arrive overnight tonight and early Friday morning as we see temperatures starting in the 60s. The showers will move out, though, by Friday early in the morning, and we'll see more sunshine and lesser humid conditions Friday afternoon. Highs in the upper 70s and near 80. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
Why are you up so early? Don't you remember what today is?
Not really.
Here's a hint. I like zippers.
National Zipper Day.
Whatever happened to zippers? I miss zippers.
That's right. National Zipper Day.
Got anything against zippers?
Zip it. Zip me.
Zip it good.
Can you zip me up?
I'm Zippy Longstocking.
Zippers where zippers shouldn't be.
Let's get out there and get zipping.
It's showtime.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. You're listening to Mornings with the LeaderMan, and the good old LeaderMan is still resting and recovering from his back surgery, doing quite well. We hope to have him back in the studio next week, but for the time being, you're stuck with me, Dorothy, as well as my two cohorts in crime across the room from me. Good morning, Colonel. Welcome back to the room.
Good morning, Moore County. Good morning, taxpayer-subsidized pilot. I missed trash day, so everybody must have done pretty well because I didn't see any trash laying out in the street this morning. So,
Yeah, I saw the pilot when I came in yesterday, but it disappeared. I don't know if somebody else picked it up or the dog took off with it or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He probably sent Colt down there to pick it up. And,
that's very possible.
Spread it out on the floor.
I thought about, I should pick that up on my way out tomorrow or yesterday afternoon, and it wasn't there, so, oh well. Not like I'm missing much. And my other cohort in crime, whose name I forgot at the moment, I'm
not going to say it.
I hope people on YouTube could actually see that face. No, I'm just kidding. How you doing this bright and sunny? I almost said Saturday. Oh, good Lord, am I driving? I'm already thinking it's Saturday. This Thursday morning, John. How are you this morning?
Well, I was doing pretty well until all that. For one thing, I was glad to see the Colonel, and mainly because I was sick and tired of hearing you talk about how much you miss the Colonel. And now the Colonel walks in, and you don't even know me all of a sudden. It's like this other guy.
What can I say?
I got the Colonel here. Who cares about anything else? All right.
It's easier to talk to him. He's straight in front of me, so I can just look straight ahead and talk properly into the microphone and see him. And I have to turn my head, and it makes my neck hurt.
Well, you often turn your head when you see me in public. And you're a young woman, Dorothy. What do you mean make your head hurt? Your neck hurt?
It's all this twisting that I have to do.
Just play a Chubby Checker song. You'll be fine.
Nah. I was looking because it's National Zipper Day. I was looking to see. It seems like something that would be a Weird Al Yankovic song, but I couldn't find one.
You are obsessed.
I say if he hasn't done one, he needs to do a zipper song. Something about zippers. So.
I actually saw him in person. He did a great concert, and I really liked it. It was a lot of fun.
He's always fun to listen to.
Yep.
His creativity is unique.
Of course, all of our listeners listen to Beethoven and Bach and when they're and WEEB.
Yeah, WEEB.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if we're complimenting us or what.
Oh no, definitely. All right.
So what you got for us this half hour? Because I'm out of interesting headlines. I gave my interesting headline last
no Boulder. You're not going to repeat the Boulder headline.
I can repeat the Boulder headline, but there's no guarantee.
That was my fault. I said, hey, Dorothy, you got to read that headline. So,
but it was,
Well, I wanted to talk. We had a lot of fun last hour, at least I did. And I'm going to be a little more serious.
Did you play with your zipper some more?
Dorothy is fascinated with this zipper thing.
Hey, it's a slow news day. What can I say?
Her grandma, for you who missed it, was it your grandmother?
No, it was my mother. I'm sure my grandmother did it too because she grew up in the Depression. So,
yep.
But my mother had.
Listen,
my mother saved everything for a long time. I'm just begun to get rid of some of the stuff she saved.
So anyone who needs a zipper, just come by here and see Dorothy.
I might be able to scrounge one up for you.
Okay, well, if you need a zipper, come see Dorothy. But I tell you, I wouldn't open the door for him, Dorothy, if I were you. Anybody comes by to get a zipper.
Are you too? Are doorknobs too complicated for you?
No, but I'm thinking, why are you attacking me all of a sudden? Why is it me? The Colonel's back, all of a sudden I'm nothing. You won't talk to me again.
Because, hey, you've had lots going on with the school board the last 2 days. I've kept my mouth shut.
Yeah, you'd have.
I behaved myself in front of Bob Levy and David Hensley.
No one wanted you to. I mean, I love it when you join in, but bring up zipper. Oh my goodness, you're in. I want to talk about
I have
the
to
pilot.
look and see what tomorrow's thing is so I can prepare today.
Hey,
Anyway, go ahead.
Is my mic high enough?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. All right, let's talk about the pilot.
Okay, talk about the pilot. What you got?
I would like folks to know, first of all, and pilot, I know you're listening, and I really do appreciate it when Warnoff and Nagy and company listen, because I know they're big fans, and I can't say that we're fans of the pilot.
No.
I think they're a terrible, awful newspaper, not just because of what they don't say, but because of what they do say. It's bad enough in their commentaries that they have no idea what's happening. They stick around, they hang around with their little latte sipping ponytail crowd, and they sit on their, as I said the other day, their soft butts with their little boy arms, and about the most workout they do is to type things that they think that their little cute crowd wants to hear. But every once in a while, they when they're not doing commentaries, they make a weak attempt at reporting the news. They never get it right. And I don't really care if they report on something that we do that's bad, and as long as they're accurate, but they're never accurate. Let me give you an example. On Tuesday, April the 27th, there was a protest out at the central office of the school, and it was well attended. I mean, I was very surprised to see how many people showed up. There was hardly a place to park, and the police were there. Magnificent police, did a wonderful job, very polite, and we made sure we took them cold water, and but Dr. Bob had instructed them to block off part of the building area. We couldn't get in the building at all. We couldn't get into the back parking lot where the school board members enter, so we couldn't talk to them. We were restricted to one area. Didn't blame the police at all, because they're doing their job, and that's what they're supposed to do. And but when the meeting was over, 3 of the school board members, and of course you know who they were, came out, and let me tell you what the pilot reported. I'm just going to read this, and then I'll tell you why it's ridiculous. They said a Tuesday meeting of the Moore County Board of Education ended in a shouting match after board member Pam Thompson took issue with recent comments she said were made by fellow member Robert Levy on WEEB radio. All right, the first point I want to make is a very simple one. It's inconsequential. It makes no difference to anyone, but I want to point it out by way of pointing out, when you report, you should report the facts. Nothing but the facts. A police officer, when he testifies in court or when he writes his report, he doesn't say things like, it looks like a violent stroke slashed it. No, he would say something like, there was a knife in the guy's hand, there was a body there, the guy admitted he did something. He doesn't draw his own conclusions, in other words. The pilot said, she said they were made by fellow board member Robert Levy on WEEB radio. Well, in fact, that's where the comments did come from. But she didn't say that. She said that someone had heard it on the radio. Now, you may think this is a petty point. I don't think it's a petty point, because you don't put something in the paper that is not factual, something you didn't hear. She did not say that they were made. Pam Thompson's accusation was not that they were on WEEB radio, just on the radio. And that's an important point, I believe. Thompson also, I'll continue reading. Thompson told Levy that comments she heard he had made relating to Moore County School videos to Nazi propaganda were embarrassing. Okay, that's if you read that, you don't get the true meaning of it. And what, in fact, Pam Thompson said was she had not heard that. In fact, the lady who had heard it told her about it, and told her if she would send her that video, and then Pam repeated, I have not heard it. So when you read this in the paper, you don't really get that. You don't really get the true meaning. And if you write something in a way that does not give the true meaning, then you're not relating facts. You're not communicating to the reader.
Yeah, it's all hearsay. Yeah, Pam Thompson heard something from someone who heard the radio. So it's like that game. You whisper something in the ear and see what comes around. So that's what Pam Thompson is relating there is something that was told to her from someone who heard it on a radio, period.
And you don't get that from this article. Okay.
And yeah, so now the pilot is the third step in that, repeating hearsay.
And that's why we have a problem with it. And that's why, again, we always invite Pam Thompson, Libby Carter on here to answer questions about this, to give their side of it, and in fact to answer questions we've wanted to ask them for years about their incompetence. Okay, this sentence says, as board members attempted to respond to her comment, they quickly began to shout over each other and the meeting was abruptly adjourned. You don't really get the true feel for what happened. It says they quickly began to shout over each other. No, here's what happened. David Hensley was demanding that Bob Levy get to answer these racist slurs that had been placed against him. Bob Levy, was doing the same. He was saying, I would like to respond. I would like to respond to these charges that have just been made to me publicly based upon hearsay. And Libby Carter, I believe, it's my opinion, the extremely incompetent chair of the board, and by the way, let me say something about that. She is incompetent to be the chairperson of that board. She doesn't understand Robert's Rules of Order. She only uses them to her own effect. She is another, well, I don't know what her political feelings are, but she conducts herself the same way that the liberals do. She allows things she wants to be said. Then she made her own very hurtful, very awful, I thought, statement. And then when they wanted to respond, she said no. And apparently that woke up Ed Dennison long enough that he just yelled out what he always yells out when he wakes up, move we adjourn. And then immediately they said, we're going to adjourn. And they adjourned. And everybody got up and left. But Libby got to make her point. The paper forgot to mention that. Now here's something else. I mean, pilot, could you get anything right? It said board members exited the building and walked into a planned protest, which had been advertised in Tuesday morning newsletter. All right, board members, how about being a little more accurate? You make it sound like the entire board went there. No. Only 3 members of the board had the guts to go out and face the people that they work for, the citizens of Moore County. Only 3 had the nerve to do that. And lest you think to yourself, well, there 3 guys walked out and they cheered them and they probably threw money at them and they loved them. No, that's not what happened. These guys walked into a crowd, some of whom were openly hostile. And you know why they were hostile? Because they're fed up. They're fed up with the policies of Bob Grimacy, and they're fed up with the school board rubber stamping everything. So only 3 exited the building and talked to this crowd. Now the crowd, I don't know, 1 or 2, 3 members took their anger out on the school board members who exited. That's the only people they've been allowed to talk to. That's the only ones they know, the only ones that will look at them. And the school board members stood there and listened to everything that was shouted at them, and then he answered very calmly. But you know what they did? They answered. And I've talked to 2 of the ladies who were very upset, and they said, you know what, we probably shouldn't have yelled like that, but we didn't have anyone to talk to. This is the first time we've been able to vent our anger, and those guys are doing the best they can, and they are. And then this thing said the protesters wore Moore County Citizens for Freedom T-shirts. That is where in the world? There were like 2 T-shirts out there that I saw, and I've discussed this with others, that said Moore County Citizens for Freedom T-shirts. I wore a Zumwalt Zone T-shirt. Why didn't you mention that? I had half as many T-shirts on me as these other 2. The whole Moore County Citizens for Freedom T-shirts. They only had twice as many as I had. Where do you get this stuff? What, do you just make it up? Do you just sit at the house and? It just makes me sick. And then here's the part that I really take deep issue with, because I know who wrote this, but I don't want to mention her name. It says, but I will mention the name of her terrible editor, John Nagy. Man should be fired for complete gross incompetence. And Nagy, you're invited on here too. And I will. And you know what we can debate? I've got a good one. Let's debate the truth that you've told. I can point out so many inconsistencies in the pilot, and I would love for you to come on here and tell me I'm wrong. You people who read the pilot, take it with a grain of salt. In fact, quit taking it. It's propaganda. It's not true. You can only get the truth on this radio station about what's happened. Now here you go. You ready? Another paragraph. Board members Robert Levy, David Hensley, and Philip Holmes, who we need to make sure that we support them and keep them in office, because they are fighting the leftists on this board. The leftists on this board and the Bob mob are actively seeking to say terrible things about these three men. Anything at all that happens, what we need to do is lay out their accomplishments side by side in the 5 months they've been there, compared with the legacy school board members who've been there for years and have done nothing except rubber stamp Dr. Bob Grimacy. That says Robert Levy, David Hensley, and Philip Holmes immediately began interacting with protesters, and you ready for this? As they campaigned against their fellow school board members. I didn't hear that. Maybe the pilot, maybe you think that because they're pointing out facts that are so pathetically terrible about what the old school board members are not doing, maybe they talked about the school board who can't accomplish a darn thing. They're trying to tell us and the crowd about what they've done, about how much better it's getting, and about all the accomplishments they've made with all the budget things, and they can speak for themselves. They don't need me. But here's what I mainly want to point out to you. You've got to look for yourselves. You cannot listen to me or the pilot or anyone else. Just read factual information and tell me, are you upset because we've got three men that we elected who are saying, no, Dr. Bob, baloney. You don't just throw down millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. We want to know where it's going. We want to see line by line by line where you're spending this money. And I think there's a statement that Bob made to someone, Dr. Bob, that said, Bob Grimacy, I should say, that said, well, I don't know where they want. They want to know where every paper clip's going, and well, they can just forget it. No, we do want to know where every paper clip is going, buddy. That's exactly what we want. This business of you thinking you can just spend money. I guess the bottom line is also that the pathetic pilot, and I never call him the pilot, the pathetic pilot is a horrible, horrible newspaper. I would like them to try hard to find some news and report it accurately. And the only thing they've ever said about me is call me a cockroach, and I tell you all the time I wear that like a badge of honor. I'm sure I'll make their bogies or whatever one of these days, and maybe I'll make a full column. But you know what? You can write about me all you want. How about inviting me to come and write an article in your newspaper? You're invited on here. I'll go head to head with you, and without notes, I'll be fine. We can talk all day. WEEB, this radio station, uncovered, and it was Steve Leader Adams, the LeaderMan, uncovered information that brought the last sheriff down, uncovered things that he had done. And he denied it. And the pilot would even write about it for months. And Steve Leader Adams stuck with it and stuck with it and stuck with it and endured heat. And he was right. And it brought the last sheriff down. We uncovered information that caused a leading candidate for sheriff to drop out of the race because of what he'd done. He's a good guy, but he just made a mistake, and we uncovered that. Pilot wouldn't even print it until we kept talking about it. And finally, he caused the guy to drop out. We're the only outlet in this town that gives you factual information about the things like the new Aberdeen school that was built between two toxic dump waste sites. We give you true and accurate information that the pilot doesn't even cover. And we give you stories about extremely suspect information about what looks like, from my point of view, evidence to indicate that there's some pretty doggone shady contract deals going on in the Moore County school system. Why is there not one word in the pathetic pilot about it? This is serious stuff. Why didn't they talk about the $1.2 million on the bid?
The bid bond.
Bid bond. Why didn't they mention that? Why is this happening? And, last year, here, you ready for this pilot? Here's another lie you told. I mean, how can you... This one I'm about to read is amazing to me, because Nick Pacerno, the former chairman of the county commissioners, came on this radio station like 2 weeks ago and flat said this is a lie. This never happened. And here's your big thing that you wrote. I'm quoting. You said, last year, county commissioners dissolved their 4-year-old policy that allocated 40% of revenue to its school district. That is a lie, pilot. Why you keep saying that, I do not know. I guess you're trying to make the county commissioners look bad and trying to blame them for some of the things that you're doing. This station was instrumental in getting the 3 school board members removed from in the last election. And I'm telling you, we're going to go after Pam Thompson, Libby Carter, and Sleepy Ed Dennison. You're next. You need to go. You need to be removed from that school board. And there's nothing personal in this. Instead of trying to do a decent job and work with these 3 men like I hoped you would, you're going after them and creating division. And that last meeting was the last straw. The gloves are off. No more trying to play Mr. Nice Guy. You 3 need to go. I'm going to stress it. We're going to do it all legally, peacefully. There's not going to be any threats. No physical. Don't try to make it sound like that. If I see you, I'll be extremely respectful to you. I'll be respectful to you on this radio station. And please come on here. Please come on here. Please come on here and debate me and tell me why you should be reelected. Because I'm telling folks, we're going to be telling them all about you and all the things you've done, all the things you voted for, and why you need to go and why we need to get new members in there like Pauline Bruno and little Bill.
Yeah. No, I would encourage public, the public to get out there. And when you see these people out and about, in a respectful manner, you should question them and ask them, ask them questions about the budget. Ask them some of these things about critical race theory, et cetera, that are up here. And like you said, the 3 board members who came out and talked to the crowd that was out there at the last meeting, they were actually confronted by angry parents. It wasn't a big love fest. It was some parents asking some very hard questions about what's going on. Well, those same parents, you should seek out Glad Hand Dennison there and ask him. See if you can get a straight answer from him about anything. I can tell you, you won't. Ask Libby Carter when you have an opportunity to see her out in the Harris Teeter. Pam Thompson apparently gets out to the Harris Teeter. Well, I don't know. Libby probably has somebody shop for her. But, hey, if you see her out there, ask her. Ask her questions about the budget, etc. They don't know. They don't have the answers because the budget is not available to them on a detailed level so that they can actually see what's being spent and where.
And, I really do believe, I know Libby Carter. I've said hello to her. We might have had conversations. I have nothing against this lady at all. But when I saw her on the video of the last meeting, the way that she handled this meeting, first of all, I believe it was set up. But even if it wasn't, the way she completely lost control of that meeting, instead of using her chairmanship and demanding order and then allowing those other 2 people to speak, using true parliamentary procedure and perhaps referring to the expert who's the attorney at the meeting, she completely lost control. I can't help but think it was a sit-up.
Well, she didn't lose control until after she made her anti-Semitic remark, too.
Yeah.
So, she stabbed Bob Levy in the back one more time before she slammed the gavel.
She allowed Pam to say that. Why Pam said it, I still don't know. I hope she regrets it because it was an attack that was unwarranted and uncalled for and unsubstantiated. And Libby made sure that she had time for Libby to speak and to repeat the same thing about how disappointed she was at Bob for making light of the Holocaust.
Making light, yeah.
A man who lost his lost family members in the Holocaust.
Well, his in-laws have.
In-laws.
He said his in-laws.
But they're still family members.
But yeah, exactly. He's Jewish faith. He knows people and et cetera. And there's Libby Carter, sticking him one more time, with a lie. That's the point. She's lying about it. Pam Thompson's lying about it.
Well, Pam admits she didn't hear it. That's the thing. And I want to make another little statement here. Yesterday, when I was interviewing Bob Levy, I turned to him and said, aren't you a Jew? Mm-hmm. Now, I understand, and I did that on purpose, rather than being more respectful and saying, Bob, aren't you Jewish? Right. I purposely asked him because we're talking about Hitler killing Jews. Well, Hitler didn't look at them as Jewish people. He looked at them as a Jew. So why would, and by the way, I love Bob. I would never say anything disrespectful to him, but now next thing you know, it's going to be on Facebook. Oh, Bob and JD have something going. But no, I would never be disrespectful. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I did it on purpose when I asked him that. So you got anything else on this, Dorothy? What do you think? Do you dislike Libby Carter?
I don't know Libby Carter. I haven't paid attention to Libby Carter because I don't live around here. So it's kind of, one of those, I hear it, but I don't pay attention.
Well, we've got some good...
It's not your school board.
Yes, it's not my school board, so I only pay half attention to anything because it's really not affecting my kids.
Well, let me tell you something. I told you that we were going to get rid of these old board members, and we're going to. Huh? Pauline Bruno will be on the radio Sunday for an hour with me, and some others. And then Little Bill, we've got to get him elected. And these are great candidates who will work for the kids, and we really want to see them in. All right, we got time for a couple of other things.
A little bit of time. We got about 2 minutes.
You'll never give me a precise time.
2 minutes.
Okay. I want to talk about not about the guy who sits in the chair of the President of the United States, should be sitting in, but I want to talk about Senator Tim Scott, who answered Biden's State of the Union. It was magnificent.
He's a man.
And what do? What do liberals do? Do they talk about, well, he said this, he was wrong, or he said that? No, they call him Uncle Tim, as in Uncle Tom. That's your liberals. They're
racists.
They're racist. Everything is racist. And that's what we're dealing with. Anything. I would have been fine if they would have said to him, you misspoke here, Senator, several times. But they don't do that. Right. That's not how they operate. They come after us.
It's never a disagreement of content. It's just, personal attacks.
And they do the same thing with us. And I've got to say one more thing about cops, because, we talk about them all the time.
Okay, you got 1 minute.
Who was that, Colonel? Oh, that was Dorothy.
Yeah.
It scared me. I thought that was the Lord speaking to me. Let me know you're about done, John.
Yeah, you are.
All right. Cops, we love them. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them are quitting their jobs. There are hundreds quitting their jobs just in Seattle. We had 2 deputies shot here near Boone the other day. I wish I had time to go over how many cops have been shot in the last couple of months. And that's happening because people know that you shoot a cop, you're okay. And if the cop shoots you, well, either you find him guilty or we're going to demonstrate.
No, they had some talking head from New York. Black lady ran over a cop on the Long Island Expressway last night. As she was having her little thing on Facebook, I hate cops, etc. She runs one over who's out in the road directing.
Well, thanks everybody for listening as always, and don't always check out your facts. Great talking to you.
Hey everybody, have a great Thursday. Go appreciate your zippers and make sure they all work well. If you need to, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Have a good day.